Has this ever happened to you? You're sitting across from her, maybe at a bar, maybe in your car after a long evening together. The conversation is light, but something in the way she's looking at you feels different. It's not just friendliness. It's not just comfort. There's a pull subtle but undeniable, and you can't tell if it's real or just in your head. You don't want to misread it, but you also don't want to miss it. Every man has been in that razor-thin space between she's into me and she's just being nice. And it's in that space that most men either act too soon and ruin it, or freeze and watch it slip away. The truth is, attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, woven into the little cues she's giving you, cues most men overlook because they're too distracted by her words. Women rarely just say, "I want you tonight." They speak through timing, energy shifts, and invitations you have to notice in real time. And when you do, you move from guessing to leading. Here's where men fail. They look for one big, dramatic signal instead of reading the cluster of small ones. You think she's going to lean across the table and whisper it in your ear. That's not how it works. It's in the way her tone drops when she asks you what you're doing later. The way she starts closing the physical space between you with each laugh. The way her hand lingers on yours just a fraction longer than necessary. Let's get tactical. If you're at a gathering and she's moving through a crowd but keeps circling back to you, that's not coincidence. It's investment. Women don't waste their energy unless they want something. Your move. Hold your ground. Don't chase her from across the room. Let her make the journey back to you. Each time she does, you're confirming the interest without devaluing yourself by hovering. Or picture this, you're sitting side by side, maybe on a couch, maybe at a booth. She adjusts her body so her knees are touching yours. That's not random comfort, that's an invitation. If you respond by immediately putting your arm around her like you've been waiting all night, you kill the slow burn. Instead, stay still for a moment. Match her energy. Let her feel the tension rise. The strongest move is to make her aware that you noticed without rushing to cash it in. One of the most overlooked cues is time dilation. If she's rearranging her night, dragging out the conversation, suggesting one more drink or just 5 more minutes, she's stretching the frame to create space for something to happen. Your job is to lean into that window without fumbling it into an awkward stall. That means transitioning from public to private space, smoothly suggesting a change of scenery, a walk, or an after-hours spot that shifts the tone. But here's the psychological trap many men misinterpret friendliness or politeness as desire. That's why you can't read just one sign in isolation. You need at least 3 signals stacking together before you act. And even then, the way you act matters more than the fact that you act. She's not just reading your boldness, she's reading your calibration. A man who's grounded in his frame doesn't lunge. He moves deliberately, as if nothing about this moment surprises him. This is where self-worth comes in. If you believe you need her validation to feel like the night is a win, you'll overplay every small cue. You'll talk too much, touch too soon, try too hard. But if you're fine walking away without sealing it, your energy shifts. You're no longer a man chasing, you're a man choosing. Women feel that difference in their bones. The shift you need to make is from scanning for proof to leading with certainty. Certainty isn't about arrogance. It's about reading the room like you've been here before. When you catch her holding eye contact a beat too long, when her laugh drops into a softer register, when she starts mirroring your posture, you don't ask, "Is she into me?" You already know, and you start guiding the interaction toward a more intimate space. The next time you're in that razor-thin space, remember she'll never spell it out for you, but she will write it in her body language, her timing, and the little choices she makes around you. If you can read that silent script, you'll stop guessing and start moving with intention. And that's when nights stop ending in regret. Have you ever picked up on these cues but acted too soon or too late? Which moment haunts you more? Drop your story below. I want to hear the real ones. There's a moment you'll recognize if you pay close enough attention when the conversation stops being about things and starts being about you. She's no longer asking about your job, your hobbies, or the food you ordered. She's leaning in, tilting her head slightly, and her questions are about your past, your opinions, your little quirks. That's not idle curiosity. That's her subconsciously pulling the two of you into a private world, where the rest of the environment starts fading. Most men miss it because they're too busy answering. You're not supposed to just respond, you're supposed to take control of the frame. This is where a subtle but powerful shift happens. She's giving you her emotional attention, and emotional attention is a precursor to physical escalation. The mistake here is flooding her with your life story or trying to impress her with over-detailed answers. That breaks the tension. Instead, you want to give her a taste, a glimpse of something intriguing, and then turn it back to her. Leave her wanting to ask more. Curiosity is the slow fuse to desire. Let's break it down into a practical move. If she asks, "So, what kind of girls do you usually go for?" Most men answer like they're on a dating profile, listing traits or trying to make her feel like she's the perfect match. Wrong move. That tells her she's already got you no work required. Instead, tilt your head, smile slightly, and give a layered answer like the kind that know what they want, but don't give it away too easily. Then change the subject. You've planted a seed that forces her to consider where she stands in your eyes. Now she is the one trying to qualify herself to you. Another sign most men fail to capitalize on physical compliance. If you lightly touch her arm to emphasize a point and she doesn't pull back or even leans into it, you've crossed into a space where physicality is welcomed. That's a green light, but not the final lap. A rookie mistake is escalating too fast right after one sign of compliance. The seasoned move, pull back for a moment, continue talking, then introduce a second touch later. This keeps her anticipating your next move instead of feeling like you're rushing to close. Then there's the proximity test. Women who are ready to move the night forward will find excuses to close space sitting next to you instead of across from you, walking close enough for shoulders to brush, leaning in even when they don't need to. This isn't random. Humans are wired to protect personal space, and when she lets you in, she's already made a decision about her comfort with you. Your role here is to deepen that comfort without collapsing the mystery. One of the strongest yet quietest signs is her willingness to isolate with you. If you're in a group and she suggests stepping outside for air, checking something on her phone with you, or helping her grab something from another room, she's not just being casual, she's giving you a window where the energy can shift without social eyes watching. This is where you must be smooth. Don't make it an awkward moment, let the setting do the work. Keep talking, keep the energy low pressure, and let the natural closeness of the environment do the pulling. The real psychological game here is understanding that she wants to feel like the moment happened naturally, not like you were waiting for it. That's why pacing matters. You can't skip steps, and you can't just jump from signal to signal like a checklist. Your confidence isn't in moving fast, it's in being unshaken, letting her cues stack, and moving when it feels inevitable. And this is where men sabotage themselves. They get one or two signals, and their mind starts racing. She's into me. This is happening. The energy changes. The eyes start darting. The hands get fidgety. The conversation stumbles. She feels the shift. And suddenly, the magic is gone. The fix practice holding your state. No matter what signal she gives, your body language and voice stay the same. Calm, grounded, as if you've seen this before, because you have. Your greatest advantage is the ability to delay gratification just long enough to let her want it as much as you do. If she's giving you time, touch, and attention, she's already halfway there. Your restraint isn't hesitation, it's control. And control is what makes the moment burn brighter when it finally happens. Have you ever been in that position where you knew she wanted you, but you held back to see how far she'd go? How did it play out? Or did you wait too long and watch her pull away? Be honest. I want the real details. There's a different kind of signal that doesn't show up in her touch or her words, it shows up in her rhythm. You'll notice she stops multitasking with her attention. Earlier in the night, maybe she was checking her phone, scanning the room, breaking eye contact. But now, her focus stays locked. Every laugh is directed at you. Every pause is filled with her waiting for your next move. That stillness isn't accidental. When a woman is ready for the night to turn, she narrows her world down to you, because in her mind, the rest of the night is just background noise. The tactical advantage here is understanding timing. This moment when her focus is narrowed is your perfect window to start shifting the conversation and setting towards something more personal. If you waste it with filler talk or safe topics, you risk letting the charge fizzle. Instead, lean into more layered dialogue stories that reveal a piece of you she hasn't seen yet. A memory with a sharp sensory detail, a playful tease that hints at intimacy without crossing the line. This is where you plant thoughts in her head that she'll keep replaying. One of the most telling signs is when she starts building a bridge to keep you in her space. She might offer you a sip of her drink, a taste of her food, or an inside joke that belongs only to the two of you. These small acts aren't random kindness, they're trial runs for intimacy. The untrained man will see them as sweet but harmless. The trained man knows each one is a micro-escalation she's giving you permission to follow. Here's where you have to be sharp. Women often communicate readiness by creating low-risk opportunities for physical closeness. If you're walking together and she points out something on her phone, holding it so you have to stand right next to her, she's not just sharing a meme, she's normalizing your physical presence. If you lean in without hesitation, as if it's the most natural thing in the world, you reinforce the comfort she's offering. If you hesitate, you introduce doubt. Now, there's another layer, the playful barrier. Sometimes she'll tease you, lightly challenge you, or pretend to push you away with a smile. This is not rejection. This is an invitation to show that you can handle her energy without losing your frame. Men who take the bait and get defensive kill the tension. Men who stay relaxed, maybe tossing back a playful response, pass the test. She's checking if you can hold both attraction and pressure without cracking. A common mistake here is verbal overreach, rushing to confirm her attraction by fishing for compliments or asking if she likes you. The moment you verbalize what should be felt, you drag it into logic, and logic kills desire. Women want to feel pulled toward you, not have to explain it. That's why your best move is to let the signs live in the air unspoken. Let her body do the talking and respond in kind through presence, pacing, and confident touch. Another crucial cue, she starts investing in the after. Maybe she casually asks if you have plans later. Maybe she drops hints about how she's not ready to go home yet. These aren't throwaway comments, they're logistical breadcrumbs. She's testing whether you'll catch them and lead. If you deflect or ignore them, she'll take it as a lack of awareness or confidence. But if you catch them and respond with a calm, "I know a spot we can go," you transition the frame from possibility to inevitability. And here's the unspoken truth. Her signals aren't just for you to notice, they're for her to feel safe in wanting you. Every cue she gives is her way of testing whether you're attuned, whether you can move without forcing, and whether you understand the dance. The moment she feels you're tuned in, reading her without needing her to spell it out, is the moment she can let go. Men who master this aren't the ones who always get it right in theory. They're the ones who stay calm when the moment tilts toward intimacy. They don't try to sprint to the finish. They make her feel like she's falling into it, like this was always the natural direction of the night. Have you ever caught yourself over-talking in the exact moment you should have just let the silence breathe? What happened? Or have you had her drop the perfect hint, and you missed it until it was too late? Share your moment, I want to know. There's a kind of signal that slips past most men because it doesn't look like attraction, it looks like vulnerability. Maybe she lets out a sigh she didn't mean to. Maybe her voice softens when she tells you about something that's been on her mind. Maybe she lingers in silence for a moment after you say something, her eyes fixed on you, as if weighing whether to take a step closer, not physically, but emotionally. When a woman does this, she's lowering her guard in real time. She's allowing the interaction to move out of surface-level safety and into something charged. Most men respond by jumping in too fast, filling the gap with jokes or trying to comfort her immediately. But if you know what you're doing, you hold the pause. You let the air thicken. Vulnerability, when met with stillness and presence, can turn into desire because you're showing her you can hold space without breaking under its weight. This is also when she might start sharing small personal details that don't need to be said. Things about where she lives, her routines, or even little complaints about her day. At first, they sound random, but in reality, she's giving you a map telling you who she is and subtly inviting you into her life. If you respond with genuine attention, remembering these details and using them later in the night, you show her you were listening. That creates a thread of connection far stronger than forced compliments. Watch for the deliberate linger. This is when she has every reason to leave to call the night, but she doesn't. You've reached the logical end of the conversation. Maybe even said something like, "All right, I should get going." And yet, she stays put. She might lean back, shift closer, or start a new topic entirely. That's not indecision, that's her giving you another window. The wrong move is to ignore it and keep talking casually until she eventually leaves. The right move is to acknowledge the moment with your body language, lean in slightly, lower your voice, and change the tone. You're signaling that you've noticed her choice to stay. One of the most primal signs is mirroring, when she unconsciously matches your posture, your gestures, even your speech rhythm. This is her body aligning with yours. A deep-rooted human signal of rapport and attraction. Most men never notice it, and the ones who do often ruin it by calling it out. Don't say, "Hey, you're copying me, let it happen," then use it. If she's leaning in, you can lean back slightly and see if she follows. If she does, you're leading without a word. There's also the playful self-consciousness, the way she touches her hair, adjusts her clothes, or checks her reflection when she's around you. These are preparation behaviors, even if they look casual. Women rarely fidget with their appearance unless they care about how they're being seen in that moment. The more of these micro-movements you notice stacking together, the more confident you can be in reading her interest. From a strategic standpoint, this is where you must manage pacing. All the signals in the world mean nothing if you rush and make the moment feel scripted. You're not here to get to the point as fast as possible. You're here to keep her inside the moment long enough for her to feel like she is choosing you. That's where the power is not in you pushing forward, but in her leaning in. A man who understands this doesn't scramble for the next move. He lets her fill the space with her own choices. He notices when she starts steering the conversation toward topics about relationships, intimacy, or shared experiences. He catches the way her tone changes when she says your name. He sees the look in her eyes when the laughter dies down and the silence hums with possibility. And when the moment finally comes to close the gap, whether that's a touch, a kiss, or moving to a more private place, it doesn't feel like a jump. It feels like the most natural step, as if the night couldn't have gone any other way. That's what happens when you read her correctly, when you respect the rhythm, and when you trust that your presence alone is enough to keep her there. Have you ever noticed her lingering, and you knew it was your moment but you hesitated? Or have you ever misread vulnerability as just friendship, only to find out later she was waiting for you to act? Tell me about it. I want the raw truth. There's one last set of signals that most men never see because they're too busy focusing on themselves the way she starts engineering the close. By now, if you've read her right and kept your frame steady, she's no longer just hinting. She's actively removing barriers between the two of you. Maybe she positions herself so no one else can interrupt. Maybe she offers you a ride or asks for one, even though it's out of your way. Maybe she starts talking about music, movies, or food she likes in a way that sounds suspiciously like setting up a reason to go somewhere together. These aren't coincidences. They're her way of making the transition easy for you without making it look like she's chasing. And here's the crucial part she still needs to feel like you let it. If she lays the breadcrumbs and you don't follow, she'll feel exposed. But if you follow too aggressively, she'll feel like you were just waiting for permission to pounce. The skill here is to take the lead in a way that makes it feel mutual, almost inevitable. Sometimes the strongest cue isn't something she does, but something she stops doing. The banter slows down. The conversation dips into longer silences that aren't awkward, they're loaded. She stopped distracting herself, stopped testing you, stopped trying to entertain. The moment is stripped down to just the two of you, and if you can stay calm here, you'll feel the atmosphere shift. This is where you don't need more words, you need intention. A strategic move at this stage is what I call the soft step forward. You change one thing in your behavior, your tone, your proximity, your touch, and see if she meets you there. If she leans in when you speak softly, if she holds your gaze when you pause mid-sentence, if she lets the touch of your hand rest longer than before, then the green light isn't just flashing, it's locked in. Women will also start to make micro commitments when they're ready. They'll agree to stay out longer, they'll shift their schedule, they'll drop hints about not having to wake up early. This is her way of telling you there's time without ever saying it outright. The man who's attuned will take this as the sign to move the night forward. The man who isn't will waste it talking about nothing until the window closes. One thing you must understand: the more attuned you are, the less obvious your moves will be. By the time you make the next step, whether that's taking her hand, moving in for a kiss, or leading her somewhere more private, it won't feel like a decision. It will feel like the natural conclusion of everything you've both been building. That's the difference between a man who pushes and a man who pulls without force. And when it happens, when she's looking at you with that mix of anticipation and certainty, you'll realize she's been leading you to this point as much as you've been leading her. You'll see how every signal stacked, how every pause and glance and laugh was part of a quiet conversation happening beneath the words. That's the game within the game, the one most men never even realize they're playing. When you master this, you won't need to guess anymore. You won't need to ask your friends, "Do you think she's into me?" You'll know because she'll have told you without speaking. And more importantly, you'll know how to respond without breaking the spell. That's when you stop chasing moments and start creating them. She didn't just want you tonight because of something you said or did in the last 5 minutes. She wanted you because you read her, respected the pace, and made her feel like choosing you was her own idea all along. She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.